Alright, it is ban list time apparently. I usually don't do these kind of videos, but this time I didn't miss the ban list, so I can actually talk about it. And I'll be talking about it from like a budget player's point of perspective. Obviously, I'll go a bit into why certain cards could be or are banned or unlimited or whatever it is. I don't quite like how they portray it, but for a video format, that's a bit annoying. Could look up stuff on the internet, but let's be honest, I'm a bit too lazy for that. So let's start off. Cards that are going to be forbidden from now on. Union Carrier, fair enough. I mean, I guess this card had it coming from the start. Being able to basically search out any card from the deck, well, any monster from the deck, and equipping it, and then sending to the grave, recovering it, or just use the broken effects that the cards have. As equipped cards, the Buster Blader kind of Buster Whelp comes to mind. Yeah, Union Carrier had to come in. Worked for so many decks. Sadly, it's a bit annoying for like ABC because the card actually does stuff for ABC. So rest in peace. But yeah, overall, I don't think anyone is surprised. What I'm a bit surprised at is in the last few lists, they have actually started to hit ultra rares and not went around it as much and try to, maybe if we semi-limit this rare card, then the deck won't be as good anymore. It's like, yeah, did nothing. What a surprise. Hampering some kind of consistency is never a good idea in my opinion, because you don't make the decks worse, you just make the decks less consistent. So people just have, either they can still pump out the exact same board, or they just can't really play, and that's just not fun, is it? Like, that's basically what Monarchs were after the ban lists in the TCG. It just wasn't fun playing them, so yeah, some people did drop them, because in the end you will win less games, possibly, but instead of giving you like a still playable deck, but the power ceiling is a bit reduced, it just makes it either hit or miss, and that really doesn't make for good gameplay. Like, imagine you've started around like a board game or whatever, and sometimes your dice just doesn't work. Like, that's just a bit annoying, isn't it? Totally awesome. I don't really get this. Like, yes, there is decks that kind of use this. I don't know if this is a preemptive hit for Sprite, then possibly. So the whole frogs aren't touched and stuff. I don't quite know. Could be, but I didn't feel like Totally Awesome was too oppressive in general. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Tell me why Totally Awesome might be bad. If it's not for Sprite, if it's for Sprite, then I obviously understand. But I kind of like the idea of preemptive hits, so decks don't spiral out of control, because Konami can actually learn from the TCG and the OCG. So this could be a neat thing, but we shall see about that one. Cards to be semi-limited, let's do it like this. Put it at the bottom. Well, that's very helpful. That grass looks greener. Okay, semi-limit. Like, why? It's a 60 card deck that you play this in anyway. Might as well limit it or ban it, because like the same thing. It makes it less consistent. So you want people to stop playing this deck. You don't want. I don't understand it, because it will still be as good if you hit it, but if you don't hit it, the deck will just suck. So either ban it if you don't want people to play this deck, or I don't know, change something else. But with grass, you can't really change something else. You'd have to say, oh, you can only have a max size of 50 cards per deck. That would change that, but that would be a bit annoying just for one card. So I'd be happy to see this card one or completely banned. Then it is what it is. Maybe they're going to do that. It can be very strong, obviously, because it can basically plus you by 15, but also can be doing nothing. So it's a bit of a hard one. I think the card is a bit broken, but yeah, not all the time. So kind of a strange one where you have to play a certain deck size for the card to be actually fine. So yeah, let's keep going. There can be only one follows suit, with all the other floodgates going to two. I want to say it does stuff, but it does only so much that most floodgatey decks can play basically any of the floodgates, because they usually have a playstyle where you can just shove in anyone, and then it doesn't really matter what number they are, because you still have summon limit, you still have goes in match, you still have like lots of other ones. Technically, if you want to get really rid of them, like ban them or set them to one, but it is what it is. But again, they are going after the ultra rares, and that is something I'd like to see, especially as a budget deck player, because this doesn't affect me at all. Never crafted any of these cards, never even looked into them. I know what they do, obviously, because I play TCG, but have not considered them for any deck really. Same goes for Dimension Shifter. A bit weird that they would ban this card. Yes, it's very strong in certain decks. It might hamper Fluandereeze, question mark, I don't know. Guess that's what it kind of does. I don't know if the card is necessarily any better than most other hand traps. It's especially against stuff. If the Ishizu tier element comes out, you kind of would want to have this in game. But then again, yeah, I don't know. Like, no doubt the card is very strong, but I find it a bit weird putting it to 2. I feel like it doesn't achieve all that much. Infernity Launcher coming back to 2, interesting. I'm not an Infernity player. I've not played during the time when Infernity was super strong. I always thought people said like 2 launchers is too much, or is it 2 Arc Fiend? Correct me if you are an Infernity player and you're like, no, 2 launchers is absolutely fine. Fair enough. If it's not, then yeah, it could be problematic. But I feel like we're kind of lacking some of these like monster spam heavy decks that build up a crazy board. Not that I would want that back. I'm kind of okay with the meta shifting away from this kind of stuff, but that could change this possibly. Don't know. Let's move on. Conquistador of the Golden Land. Very good that this card's coming back to 2 and will probably be coming back to 3 eventually. Eldritch is annoying, but it's not over the Eldritch that's annoying. It's the floodgates that are mainly annoying, and that it works so well with the floodgates because you basically have like 1 monster, so you get around all of these restrictions that just hits and hits and hits, and you can turn your own floodgates off whenever you want by using your Golden Lord. So that's that's something that I'm happy to see that rare card is coming back, and I might actually look into like a purish Eldritch kind of build then. To put out, because before I was always kind of on the fence of doing it, but never really considered it. But now I might actually. Maybe I'll wait the next list if Conquistador comes actually back to 3, then that might be something that I would want to do a bit more. And cards for which the limit on the number of copies will be lifted. You could just say unbanned, however, but no, that is a way easier thing to say. Dino Wrestler Pancratops, okay. More Go Second cards. Well, I guess like the cards are very strong, but do we need more Go Second cards? Is Go Second still not really a viable thing? I don't know, but some people will be happy about this. I'll not craft a playset of Pancratops, but it's obviously strong card. Memories of Hope. I was wondering when this card was going to come back to 3 because yeah, the thing before didn't really do all that much to it. Not sure if the decks that run this card really need a boost, but I don't think it's a crazy boost for them anyway. But definitely a card that you can run in the what is it? The deck that spams the 4 rank 4s and then OTKs you with them. Not rank 4s, or rank 1s. I think they are. I can't find the name right now, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Scapegoat back. That's nice, but it's also quite a high rarity card, so I doubt I'll try out how good triple Scapegoat is. I wonder if stall decks that works. Your opponent, has to clear the goats, because otherwise you go into some link plays after. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. Scapegoat was like, at the beginning of link format, was very good, and then it got like put back down to 2 or 1. And I don't know if the meta is in a place where you want to throw, like, basically use one card that you can only really utilize the turn after. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in anymore, or if the meta has evolved way past this. So we'll have to see on that one. Danger Jackalope to 3. Oh, interesting. Like it. Still super rare. Could look into a danger deck, but I think the dangers are quite expensive if you want to go for 3 Bigfoot. And Dangerous going first isn't that great, but if at one point Danger Dark World comes out, then triple Jackalope should be quite nice to run, I'd say. Still not the cheapest deck, I imagine. Double Iris Magician is now triple Iris Magician. Fun. Never had any issues with it being at 1, 2, or 3. Like 3 does as much. It's good for some Pendulum players. Glad they got the card back. Wasn't necessarily in the beginning already, so we're glad we've got this back. Salamangreat Gazelle. I don't like Salamangreat because that's when I like mainly played TCG in that time, and Salamangreat just like bored me to the max. I don't know. Every time the same thing. I can still in my sleep see all the Salamangreat combos, and yeah, it's not going to make much of a difference, but there we go. There's a Gazelle. On you go, enjoy Salamangreat again. Really hope that's not going to become a thing again. Cursed Outland, same thing. Yes, at 3 makes the deck more consistent, focuses more on the actual Eldritch plays now rather than using the floodgates, which they still will. They just have different ratios now, and it actually makes the deck a bit more playable, which I'm not for. I'm not very happy about. I don't know, do you run 3? Probably. That's quite a good card, so I guess. Yeah, it's okay budget wise. This list is quite, it's good for budget players and it's bad for budget players because certain cards didn't come back. With Union Carrier, I thought maybe that might hamper some Adamancipator builds, and Block Dragon being at least limited, I think the last list. I thought you maybe would get the Adamancipator, the level 4 back, that was a 2, maybe back to 3, because that limit also did surprisingly little, who would have thought. I just want the card back because it's a good budget deck actually to start off learning how the game works while doing something that's a bit more fun than doing the exact same combos. You actually have some luck based kind of thing on it that can be quite interesting. So I wished for this card to be on it, but in the end, as a budget deck player, I didn't lose anything from this list, and I got some stuff back. Not really anything worth mentioning besides maybe Conquistador, but I'm not going to complain. And possibly will this address anything meta relevant? Like Despia isn't on here at all, so this deck will still be very, very good. Very, very annoying to deal with. Is more the kind of thing. Flanders might be hampered by Dimension Shifter, I don't know. But I don't even know what's really the meta deck at the moment that's good. I feel like the data is a bit strange on it. It doesn't really match with what I see and play against. That's quite an interesting thing because Master Duel actually has a very broad meta in a sense, but obviously a lot of decks are a lot stronger. I still would have wanted to see like Max C be on here, but I understand why it exists. It's a whole weird kind of thing, but we take it. Not going to complain too much about it. Is it going to change the meta game? Is it going to change all that much? I doubt it. Is it harming me in any way? Also not. Might as well not have done it, but I'm glad Union Carrier's on it. That's all I can say, and I'm not complaining about one list. There can be only one. So that's me. That's my 5 opinions on this one, and I hope you're having a good day.